The Holcim Foundation Awards is proud to partner with The Urbanist on Monocle Radio. The Holcim Foundation Awards is the world's premier competition for sustainable design, highlighting projects that contribute to the transformation of the building sector. Awarding $1 million in prizes, it honours excellence in sustainable design and construction. By showcasing innovative, soon-to-be-realised projects, the awards drive change and inspire a new generation to adopt responsible design practices. Entry for the next awards competition is open now. Find out more, get involved and submit your free entry. Go to holcimfoundation.org/awards. The Holcim Foundation Awards, proud partner of The Urbanist on Monocle Radio.
On the northern coast of Malaysia's Penang state capital of Georgetown, there lies a strip where English settlers first built their bungalows and later Chinese tycoons built their castle-like homes. Some are abandoned and crumbling, while others have been swallowed by developments that verge on architectural terror. You're listening to Tall Stories, a Monocle production brought to you by the team behind The Urbanist. I'm Ajit Tuck. In this episode, Tomás Pinheiro discusses the history of this still prestigious street and assesses some of the new developments that continue to devour the heritage buildings.
Beneath the jumble of modern ads, LED signs and air conditioning units, the historical core of Penang's Georgetown remains mostly untouched. The air is thick with the scent of curries and incense. The call to prayer echoes 5 times a day, and Chinese calligraphy covers the facades of endless rows of shophouses. Walking through their arched passageways really feels like stepping back in time. The city's rich history as a multicultural trading port, along with its well-preserved authenticity, led to its recognition as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2008, a status shared only with Malacca among the former strait settlements of British Malaya, but not Singapore, whose historic core was largely demolished during its boom years. In Georgetown, around 4,000 historic buildings are preserved, spanning both the core protected area and its buffer zone. The latter functions as an added layer of protection to maintain the visual context of the historical landscape. Just beyond the buffer zone, following the coastline, lies Northern Road, known as Millionaire's Row. It was here that affluent European settlers built their bungalows in the 19th century. At the edge of the road is the old Protestant cemetery, as old as the city itself, serving as the final resting place for many of them. Their gravestones lie beneath a canopy of frangipani trees, with epitaphs that quietly reveal most met their end in their youth between the ages of 18 and 30, overcome by long sea voyages and the harsh realities of life near the equator. Around the turn of the century, most Europeans moved inland, paving the way for Chinese tycoons to take their place. It was their presence that ultimately gave the road its moniker. Their homes were grand displays of opulence, whitewashed in European style with expansive front lawns and circular driveways. The first of these was Soonstad Mansion, built in the style of a French chateau. Just a few doors down, Woodville Mansion followed suit, but with the addition of a dome-top tower and a tennis court on the front lawn. The most lavish of them all, Homestead Mansion, a grand Palladian villa complete with twin towers flanking a pediment and an imposing colonnade. Over the years, many of these villas fell into a state of disrepair. Some were subdivided into smaller units for lower-income residents. Others saw their gardens consumed by car parks. With the real estate boom of the 90s, the value of their land surged again, making them highly coveted by developers eager to replace them with high-rises. One of the first was the 31-story MBF Tower, completed in 1994 and designed by celebrated Malaysian architect Ken Young. The building is an early example of the bioclimatic skyscrapers he's known for, with an emphasis on natural ventilation and greenery. Sadly, the other high-rises that sprung around it are far less inspiring. Today, real estate developers continue to cast their eyes on the mansions of Northern Road, and with these sites lying beyond Georgetown's protected zone, the disregard for heritage is undeniable. The bungalow built and lived in by Stamford Raffles before he went on to found Singapore was legally demolished to make way for new developments. Right beside it, the imposing Runnymede Hotel narrowly escaped demolition, but now stands as a mere skeleton, awaiting its inevitable engulfment by the luxury glass towers poised to rise around it. With the heirs awaiting for a tempting offer, several mansions on Millionaire's Row now stand empty and neglected, their overgrown lawns and grime-covered exteriors exuding a haunting charm. Yet, the true architectural horror lies where development has already taken hold. On Christmas Day, 1993, the city woke to discover that the Metropole Hotel, once favored by the royals from the neighboring Kingdom of Thailand, had been reduced to rubble overnight. In a belated attempt to atone for this loss, those responsible reconstructed its facade, but only as the entry lobby for a 28-floor condominium. Homestead Mansion was spared from demolition and is now occupied by a private university. However, renovations have left it looking fake, and the mansion would have benefited from its own protective buffer zone. Instead, developers erected a bright blue glass tower directly behind it, completely obliterating its classical appeal. A short drive away on Gurney Drive, St. Joseph's Novitiate, a colonial masterpiece that served as a teacher's training college, has been entirely absorbed by Gurney Paragon, a flashy shopping mall, in a jarring reuse project. Ironically, as I write this, British India, a local clothing label that nostalgically draws from the romanticism of the colonial era, occupies a portion of the remaining ground floor. Still, along Millionaire's Row, not all reuse projects are as bad. The most interesting ones seem to be those that didn't require millions of ringgit or even the expertise of trained architects. Right beside Woodville Mansion sits Northern Beach Cafe, a makeshift hawker center adapted from what appears to be an old bungalow. Penangites and visitors alike gather in a seaside space to choose from an array of food vendors, offering everything from dim sum to Hokkien mee and Assam laksa. Saturdays are particularly lively, with the elderly gathering for some social dancing. The atmosphere is charming and refreshingly simple, with ordinary people claiming their spot on Millionaire's Row, at least for now.
Tall Stories is a Monocle production from the team behind The Urbanist. This episode was written by Tomás Pinheiro and produced and edited by David Stevens. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to receive new episodes every week. I'm Andrew Tuck. Goodbye, and thank you for listening, City Lovers.